Just before the anniversary of Germany's treacherous attack on Poland, Frankfurter Rundschau writes about Poland's highest defense spending in NATO. Poland spends 4% of GDP on defense, as if it were on its own in the event of war, and could not count on the treaty support of its alliance partners, as if it could be betrayed, as happened after September 1st, 1939. Because today, Germany is increasingly making it clear that it wants to take over responsibility for the defense of Central and Eastern Europe. The Germans themselves have the Bundeswehr in ruins. Their closest political associates don't even allocate 2% of GDP, even though that's a NATO requirement. And they resent Poland, which borders Russia and Belarus, for simply taking care of its own security. Record spending on the army that begun under the Law and Justice government was supposed to build the strength of the Polish army as the basis for defending NATO's eastern flank. That's why our army was to be strengthened, both in numbers and in modern military equipment, from the United States and South Korea. It so happens that contracts that were prepared when I was the Minister of National Defense are not signed. I will not let it go. I will ask and put pressure. The problem is that the Tusk coalition is not particularly in a hurry to implement the contracts negotiated by the previous government. It seems that the current authorities have a problem with implementing contracts for the Polonization and production in Poland of K2 tanks, or the purchase of 500 U.S. HIMARS missile launchers, among other things. Postponing the implementation of agreements that were previously made is clearly working against the country's security. The question arises whether the new government is not about changing alliances, from the United Right's close ally, the United States, to Donald Tusk's traditional ally, Germany. The problem is that the German army has been in trouble for years with funding, modernization, and equipment conditions. Even providing protection to Lithuania, where the entire country has less than 3 million people, where one brigade is to be stationed, is the biggest defense challenge facing the German state, which is a country of more than 80 million people. Today, all indications are that Germany, despite its hype about taking responsibility for the defense of Central and Eastern Europe, for the time being, does not have the strength to do so. Meanwhile, the search for a Moscow-controlled kamikaze drone that violated Poland's airspace has been going on for 5 days now, so far without success. The government is completely uninterested in the fact that somewhere on our territory, a deadly weapon may be lying. When a similar story happened during the United Right government, Donald Tusk's politicians called for the resignation of the head of the Ministry of Defense. Today, they remain silent. Radosław Jankiewicz, Republika.